In this video, we're going to look at mixing Coke and butane, and that's Coca-Cola, and this is lighter fluid. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the physics of what happens here. Butane has a boiling point of 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 2 degrees Celsius, so it boils below zero, or below freezing, excuse me. Coke has a temperature, room temperature of around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 16 to 21 degrees Celsius. So there's a good 30-degree Fahrenheit temperature difference between these two at least. And we also know that butane is lighter than Coke. It's more volatile and it will sit on top of the Coca-Cola. So if you have, this is the top and bottom of a container and this hatch mark is the Coke and the butane is just above it, if you flip this around so the bottom's up here and the top's down here now, you'll still have the Coke on the bottom and the butane on the top. Now, due to the temperature differences here, when you do this where you put them in the same container, the warmer Coca-Cola will cause the butane to expand very rapidly. And when that happens, the Coke is put under a lot of pressure, even if it's leaving the bottle already, so to speak, because this happens so fast, the expansion of the butane, that it forces carbon dioxide out of the Coke. And it's the combination of the butane and the carbon dioxide coming out of the Coca-Cola here that causes a bottle to be propelled, and since we're going to be flipping it upside down, it will be propelled upwards. Now, to do this, we need butane or lighter fluid and Coca-Cola. You want to start with a water bottle, and empty of course, and put your butane liquid form into there. Now, you can get a spray butane that you can do that easily, or if you have one that just has the sort of the nipple on the end there, you can use your fingernails to pull it back and you'll get liquid butane coming out if it's upside down like this. And you need about 1 inch of it on the bottom of your water bottle. You want your Coca-Cola bottle to be still so that it's not been shaken up at all. Take the top off and gently pour out some of the Coca-Cola on the top to make room for the butane. And once you've poured it out, go ahead and slowly pour the butane in here. Now, there won't be a big reaction here, but there will be as soon as you flip it over. And when you flip it over, the butane, because it's lighter, will immediately go to the top of the bottle, which is actually the bottom, which it's now contained. There's nowhere for it to go. And because it mixed with the Coke and all that heat has hit it, it expands super rapidly, starting to push the Coke out, and at the same time pushing the carbon dioxide out of the Coca-Cola, which is another gas. So between the butane gas that's forming and the carbon dioxide in the Coca-Cola, it all gets pushed out the bottom extremely rapidly, and your Coca-Cola bottle will fly up in the air. And the reason for that is Newton's third law, which states for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. So when you have all the weight of the Coca-Cola coming down like this so quickly, it's going to push the bottle up. Okay, pretty straightforward. I also plan on trying Sprite just to see if there's a difference, and Diet Coca-Cola. So I have my sodas and the butane, so let's go ahead and do this. So here's a standard bottle of butane here, and it's got this nipple on the front here, and the way to release the butane gas is you tip it upside down, and then you have to pull this backwards. So earlier I was talking about using fingernails, and that's if you use the fingernail from each finger on the side here and pull back, you can see butane comes out. Okay, I tried that for about 10 seconds and I froze the tips of my fingers pretty bad. So I need to find another way to pull this back and hold it long enough to get 1 inch of butane into a water bottle. Here's my first and hopefully my last solution to this butane issue of trying to get that liquid butane on the bottom up to 1 inch. And it's basically this. If you look at these larger torches here, there's an opening on the bottom that's open only through pressure, and you take your butane bottle, this is a different one than I was using earlier, and you push down. Whoops, it kind of sprays everywhere because it's not lined up quite right, but these allow the butane into the torch, and I thought if I can get one of these separate here, I could go ahead and use that. So that's what I did. This was a smaller one, about half the size. I took the thing apart, slowly let the butane out of it, and I just dremeled this on the bottom here. So here's that piece right here, and if you take it and I put this butane bottle on the top again, you can see that it comes out. I took the valve thing off the end of the lighter. This blue piece here, made a little jig for it because holding it like this was hard, plus my fingers are getting blasted with the butane, which is extremely cold, and I now have a way to keep my fingers away, and it works. Okay, so I have everything out here that I need. The butane's here, the Coke, which I already poured out maybe an inch or so right there. And this is only in here because it's windy and I don't want it to fall over while I'm doing this, of course. So I'm going to go with what I think has the most. I don't have one that's completely full as far as the butane goes. We're going to collect some right here. Really cold still. It's working, but it's not collecting nearly as quickly as I thought it would. Alright, I've got about a ½ inch in there. It's taking a lot longer than I thought, but here we go. We're going to pour it on the top here. There it goes. Okay, that was only a ½ inch and it did pretty good. We'll have to go on with the Diet Coke and also the Sprite I have. Even though I had my little jig thing here I made, as you saw, that butane was spraying like everywhere, and these fingers got incredibly cold. It took me around a ½ hour to get them back to where they're feeling pretty normal. So that butane is extremely cold, we know that, but please be careful. So I got smart this time, put some gloves on. And I have a feeling this is going to really help a lot. That's pretty good. Again, about a ½ inch. Got my Diet Coca-Cola. Gently pour it in there. I'm going to do this safely, carefully, the best you can. Nice, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, good thing that's Diet because it's all over me. Okay, I'm down to the Sprite as the last one. You know, that Diet Coke was no question had more force to it. Unfortunately, I didn't have the camera set up right and it missed it entirely. So hopefully this one works better and we can see the whole thing. I also found another canister of butane I forgot I had. So let's see. Oh gosh. And yep, that's that. Took some of the Sprite out already. Stand back this time. All these were about a ½ inch of butane, maybe 5/8, but not much more. And 3, 2, 1. Dang. Okay, that's that. Wait, that's a lot of fun to do.